Misfits is an organization that has played a part in developing, growing, and establishing some of the greatest players that the LEC and exported to the LCS have ever seen.
The cleanse comes out.
Misfits were the team that first showed the West that they could compete and possibly win against the East.
Done before as they take SKT to game point.
Misfits is kind of a team that can really shock anyone, which is a bit dangerous if you look at it, right? Because you can't really know what's going to happen. Vetheo might just win a game, right? And I think that's like their strength, that they're like explosive, just showing up randomly when no one expects them to, right? And I think that's really one of their key strengths.
Carrier now going in the charm, perfectly timed for Niski. Gets the space. Now Vetheo, he wants the finish and he gets it. The chain last.
The Misfits of Spring was a one-dimensional team. It relied on Vetheo to carry 1v9, or they simply could not win the game. In Summer, Misfits have developed a style and additional players stepping up to carry.
He's going to have to back away. Vetheo has the ultimate. He can't defend it. The shutdown.
Making playoffs was the first step. I feel like we are securing it. And after that, yeah, we will fight for world spot, and it would be really nice to make like all the people proud and go out with a bang.
That's going to put Misfits in 3rd place.
For G2, they're playing to reclaim their throne as the undeniable best team in Europe.
G2 claim their 9th title!
Every game will matter because they are the same scorer as us right now. And I think if you want to have a good showing at Worlds, we first need to have a good showing in Europe. These last 3 games, I think it just matters that we show what we can do. You know, we show that we can improve no matter how we started.
The game for Fnatic!
Last split we managed to turn it around for playoffs, but it's nice for me if we can show some more dominance and actually come up with a win streak and really prove that we're not just a team in Europe that manages to like barely win EU. We're a team who is here to win from the start, and there's no one challenging us.
Rest of them putting up the tower just to try to dash back, but Capsy manages to land it. That's the fall. The double pushback! 2 walls, 2 Emperors of Shurima, but who is the last one standing? It is Caps, and it is G2 Esports.
This is, especially for me, one of my last chances to make it really far. I think, for example, Vetheo, he already has his future secured, but I don't. So for the rest of the split and for playoffs, I want to give it everything I have to become the best possible version of myself.
So both these teams had great turnarounds over recent weeks. It's irrelevant. Out of nowhere, it's a solo kill.
For Misfits, this match of the week may be their final Raw on the LEC stage.
But the chain CC is there, and it might just be better. Goes Golden, finds himself a brief moment. Neon untouched on the backside. The Infernal Chains lock him up, but he's knocking everybody down!
I want to fight against the Misfits who beat T1 in a few games. And I want to beat it against the Misfits who went to Worlds, right? I'm hoping that they will put up a big fight, because we'll certainly fight back.
Fantastic video, and I think we can update that a little bit, because for Misfits, it won't be the last Roar. In fact, they've made playoffs now already, and they are on a 5-game winning streak up against the G2, currently on a 3-game winning streak. So we will hear them roar, not just today, but also tomorrow and in the playoffs. And of course, they are dreaming of making it far in those playoffs and maybe even represent the Misfits on the world stage for one last time. I mean, there's something in the air today, absolutely, and it's the Super Week, and it's the stakes for the postseason. Now, for G2 fans, important, if G2 wins the match of the week versus Misfits, they lock their spot at Worlds. That's crazy.
That's incredible. We're not even done with the regular season. They have to play a game tomorrow if they win today, knowing, you know what, we've already made Worlds, and that's, I mean, honestly, it's baffling.
Wait to deflate tomorrow.
Only for G2, of course. There's still something to play for, guys.
So let's have a little bit of a discussion, because Misfits is actually also contesting for that #1 spot, a 5-game winning streak. I feel like with everything that went on around them, rather, in terms of the takeover for next year, we kind of didn't pay attention to how impressive they have been as of late.
Yeah, they've been really impressive, especially with Zanzara stepping into the roster. Like, they've gone undefeated with this man in the team, and it's really been working out. The fact that they're able to play towards what is probably the most defined style that we have in the LEC, at least across any of the teams at the moment, which is, hey, we're going to play through slightly mid, mostly towards boss, have Neon come up as this late game insurance, and win in these late game team fights around these big objectives. And we will continue to force fights at these neutrals.
And I love seeing this coming out from Misfits because they are a team that took chances on European Regional League talent, and I got to give my praise for that when I see it happening. And then when you're able to perform it to this extent, yes, they had to make some swap-ups every now and then with, of course, Sansara coming in, but the fact Irrelevant started the season as he did and then stepped up as fast as he did, Neon as well, now obviously not a rookie, but finding his footing as kind of a veteran now amongst these rookies with having Mersa down there has been really impressive. And this is a last hurrah for these guys. They are not playing, at least under the Misfits banner, next year in the LEC, so for them to just go all the way to Worlds now would be absolutely incredible with the resource that they had to do it.
Yeah, and I gotta agree with you with rookie stepping up. I think Irrelevant has been a great addition to this team. I think he has a very set style on these tanks, but I think he really understands what the core of his identity needs to be in these fights. Peeling for the backline, making sure he's setting them up for success, letting Vetheo have these pop-off moments, letting Neon carry on things like the Sivir. It's so important that he has become such a crucial part of this team.
And it's nice to see that journey from, I think a lot of people would have identified Misfits as a one-threat team for most of kind of their miraculous run, right, even to the top 3 in the regular season last time around. Now I think we're looking at a much more complete team. Not to say Neon wasn't doing well last spring, but now he is just consistently doing so well together with everything else. They're up versus G2. Would G2 be a deserved first seed going into the playoffs with the ups and downs you've seen out of them throughout spring?
I mean, it's hard to argue no if they actually get it,
yeah.
because then it's like you didn't deserve it. Well, did anyone else?
It is hard. It is. You can't argue it because a lot of that would come down to the championship points they got in spring, which is no longer relevant.
Oh,
now
like that in playoffs. Okay, well,
right.
Obviously that's. I think that could be make tweets for that, and I think there's a lot of people who's going to agree with me on that sentiment. But obviously G2, they performed incredibly well in spring, and if they get first seed now as well in playoffs or in regular season, well, of course they do.
Yeah, I think this is the team that's probably the best at cross-mapping in the league at the moment. I think that's what's really made them stand out to me and why they have suddenly started to move into this top position. Because one of the big things that we're seeing at the moment in the meta is like how valuable these neutral objectives are, how you need to start playing very smart about how you want to try and contest them. And when I'm looking at G2, they're very quick to go, okay, we cannot make room for Rift Herald or Dragon. Right, let's go and play towards bot side. Let's go and look for a tower. Let's go and look for something else. Or even, all right, no, we can actually salvage this play. Let's TP everyone in. They're very good at understanding what they can achieve on the map, and it's why they're so terrifying.
And that's given them the title and moniker of being the best team, in fact, in the second half of the season. 6 wins in 7 games. So I think if you need more reasons to kind of justify why it would be deserved, which it clearly is, that second half of the season being so good for them is big one.
Am I the only one with like a Mandela effect on this here? Because I feel like they weren't winning all these games. I think it's because they struggled so hard in the early game that in my head I was like, surely you didn't win these. Surely you didn't pick up these. But they have, and it's actually baffling to think about. And it's just, they're resilient. Dread it, run from it. You can't get rid of them. Like, they're always here.
Yeah, but yet I'm going to give Misfits definitely a very big chance also in this match of the week, right, with what they've shown. Let's focus in on one of the matchups, Neon versus Flakked in that bot lane. Neon, as said already, but Flakked having some insane games as of late.
Yeah, I love that discussion as well, especially because, as you mentioned, like, Irrelevant, tank top lane. BrokenBlade, if Gwen's not up, defaults to Sejuani, as we've seen in the past. So the bot laners have become way more pivotal as well. And they have their unique styles as well, because they have champions they share. Specifically for Flakked, yes, you see Yasuo, that's not what I want to highlight. You see the Draven as well, whereas Neon hasn't really been on that style, but they all share these hyper carry. For me, lately with Neon, I'm thinking the Sivir, I'm thinking the Twitch, and I'm thinking Flakked to be the kind of guy that want to upset the matchup with throwing in a Draven in there.
Yeah, I really do think that a lot of these picks, like as you say, Sivir, Zeri, Twitch, the Aphelios as well, which we haven't really seen over the course of the weekend, are going to become very high priority, especially for Misfits, because we know they like to play that late game style, and it will be on Flakked to see, hey, can we play upset? Can we try and have a little bit of a funky pick that can try and maybe like a Lucianami that can put a ton of pressure down there in the early stages?
What we heard today also in interviews about people saying, yeah, the Sivir gets picked a lot and then some people overlook it or they don't play the right things into it. I think that's very interesting coming into this matchup. Do you think it's an issue that we haven't seen the Draven from Neon, or do you think also, well, maybe just hadn't had to show it yet?
I mean, I don't think it is an issue just due to the fact that there's actually so many indicators you can still play in the league.
Yeah.
And because of that, Draven isn't a necessity. Of course, he's great having every now and then, but I feel like they're still champions. They're so strong.
Yeah, he also said on EU4 that that's not the style that Misfits want to play, right? They actually don't want to pick Draven because it's not what they feel that they're comfortable with. They know that they want to try and play for this late game, and having something that requires this mid game to go well for you isn't what they want to try and go for. So I actually don't think we will see the Draven at all today from Neon. I think it definitely could be something that we see Flakked bring out, especially if we do get, you know, Zeris and Sivirs and, you know, Kallistas, these kind of things that actually could be potentially answered with the Draven.
I hope that the match of the week is as good as the other games today. It's for first place. It's for all the stakes. If G2 win, they go to Worlds and they can be certain of that. So if that doesn't light a fire under your ass, I don't know what will. If you are G2, I was lied to. Are the casters not ready? Because I was... okay, I can...
No, we're
yeah, you're ready, sorry.
We're good.
I was bamboozled. You guys are crushing it, so
thank you.
Continue, please.
Good job, guys. Take it away.
High fives all around when we're done with this one. Misfits Gaming, G2 Esports, big game. You heard about it on the desk, and you're going to hear it a few more times over the course of this cast. If G2 Esports win this, they lock Worlds. Now, keep in mind, that's not normal, and in the world where EU has 4 seeds, I don't think that would continue. It's just, we have a playoff format designed for 3 teams to go to Worlds, so in this case, you can lock it in the regular season.
And they would be the first team in the world to lock Worlds, I believe.
So that would make them statistically better than T1, yeah?
Exactly. Ender, you're doing great.
I figured it out! Let's get into it!
Song rings a bell.
What a banger. All right, G2 Esports versus Misfits Gaming. I think I can speak for everyone in the studio and at home where what everyone really wants is another game like the last game. Crazy, insanity, late game fights. We're going to have to see what happens. For now, what is happening is Flakked's Draven getting banned away, and I respect it, even if I am disappointed not to see it again.
I am not surprised as well. So I think Sivir rises up in priority now with these 2 AD carries being banned away. We'll see if G2 want to first pick that. Of course, there will be a lot of OPs open looking at these bans. Wukong, Poppy will be the junglers we'll be looking at. Sylas, Azir, the mid laners we're looking at.
I've got to tell the crowd in here, because the draft is a little bit late to get on the screen. Yuumi was banned first, so we got that one off the board. Nothing to worry about here. G2 are messing around.
You know your audience. I respect it. That's good. I thought it was going to be all like Vandals and Phantom talk, but you're doing good.
This is my first time casting in the audience, by the way, since 2020.
Wow.
2 years, 2.5 years.
Wait, that's 2 years ago.
It's brutal. Let's not
But I
talk
love you
about
guys.
time.
You guys are doing great.
Thank you. Good job, Ender. Good job,
I was talking to the crowd.
Yeah, I was saying good job to you and good job to the audience. The audience is killing it.
Mutual good jobs all around. Taliyah taken away there. So now the question is the Sivir first pick going to come out? Is the Sylas first pick going to come out for Caps? Wukong, Poppy as well, jungle trade-off, and it is going to be the Sivir. Now, this does open up a lot for Zanzara. Yes, he can go Poppy here, but Jarvan is very viable now that Sivir is locked in. If they drop jungle to 3 and they pick up Sejuani, I think Sejuani Wukong would be an easy slam here for Misfits, but knowing Zanzara, he might just lead into the Poppy.
Yeah, I mean, the Trundle there too, and an option for Freljord Duer towards the top side. Irrelevant's just been so solid on the Sejuani on the top lane. No surprise to see that one get locked in very fast. And honestly, I like the Trundle here for Zanzara too. Like, yes, a Jarvan potentially would offer you a ton of value versus the Sivir, but a pillar as well. Gonna be no counterplay really there for the champion.
And normally against BrokenBlade, I'm always a fan of when you can save your top pick for later in the draft. But if you know you don't want to use your red side counter pick for BB, just insta-locking a viable, solid top side pick, especially when Irrelevant has looked pretty good on the Sejuani, I think makes a lot of sense. That said, really waiting to see what the AD carry option is going to be for Misfits. Feels like another Zeri game. If I had to guess based on the game we saw last time, she's looking pretty strong.
I think it's Philios would struggle a bit. It's going to have to be a Zeri, you have to imagine. There's the Jarvan locked in for Jankos without even seeing the enemy AD carry pick. So Neon ideally wants to lock his AD carry in on 3 here to have some kind of mobility AD carry to get out of that Jarvan ult. And we'll see what Caps picks up here. Sylas wouldn't really surprise me when Sejuani's picked on the enemy team. Trundle as well would fit the jungler very well as well, but you could also pick something like a support as well.
Caps debating what he wants to go for. I wouldn't mind seeing the Sylas either. Jarvan, obviously, probably the most early game aggressive jungler.
It's the BrokenBlade Yone. Now, I believe it was in the T1 Damwon series today. Yone was banned on the 1-2-3, and it caught me a bit off guard, but then the Sejuani 1-2 came out, so it looks like in scrims or around the world, Yone is the answer, one of the answers to Sejuani. And BrokenBlade, of course, already has a game on that this split and is very confident. We saw the Yone Yasuo Diana come out of them last time. Now we've got the Yone Jarvan already, and there's the Zeri we expect to get locked in here for Neon.
Man, this is a topside matchup. I'm ready to see this out of BrokenBlade. I am really looking forward to that one. Of course, now with supports and mids on the table now for Misfits. Ideally here, I think you're looking to ban away maybe a couple of solid supports, then get a 4-pick support, counter-pick for mid. Could be ideal.
Hey, look, Andrew, it's Neon on Neon.
Whoa!
Moving into the 4-5s. No, I think you're right.
Did that happen? We have synergy, okay?
I was like,
Drakos, you wouldn't get it.
Did I run it? Okay.
I'm stealing your duo.
That's fine.
It's over for you.
You can NDKD now.
NDK? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like NDA.
Sounds like you have the same naming problem that Caedrel and I have. We're still struggling to find a duo name.
What the hell's the duo name?
That said, LeBlanc taken off the board. Interesting as LeBlanc obviously very hard for the Jarvan to lock down, but just don't want to risk that going over to Caps, taking the Akali off the board as well. So all these bans look like just targeted the mid lane, trying to shut down both Vetheo and Caps. Obviously the two most iconic players on each of the respective teams.
Yeah, ideally kind of take away as much mobility as possible. Sylas still up though. Ahri still up, I think. Yep. And Azir. Those are the 3 mid laners I'm looking at right now. Vetheo fans, Church of Vetheo, Church of Chovy, Church of Vetheo in the EU. Karma taken away as well, trying to deny the Sivir Karma lane. I wonder if they're looking for a Lulu on 4 here for Misfits.
And I think good recognition when you already have double carry threats in the form of the Yone as well as the Sivir. Obviously we saw the Karma pretty powerful in G2's run to the playoffs. The only game they won versus Fnatic when they were in the upper bracket was with that Karma, was empowering Flakked on a hyper carry. But both teams digging very deep into the potential ban pool.
Yeah, Lulu.
Yeah, I was going to say good call on that Lulu, because G2 obviously a little bit worried about that coming in for Mersa down on the bottom side. Now, for Misfits, I do think getting a really strong mid-jungle 2v2 going to be very important, especially with that weak side top going to be a big one.
Renata is what I'm looking at, because both Yone, while he can leap back out of it with the E, no problem.
Counter.
Yes, Yone will literally, Yone and Sivir will murder each other in like half a second if they're given any opportunity.
Very auto-attack based, but again, a bit scary into the Jarvan, but the bailout will help, the hostile takeover will help as well. 4-5 here for G2, a lot of options. They can go, Sylas would be the one that I think of when I think of Renata and Sejuani being on the enemy team. But support, I feel like you need some kind of engaged support here. Lulu and Karma being down, there's not much peel left for Sivir unless you're going for things like the Tom Kench or maybe like a Zillion perhaps, but not ideal.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you get a support that could like just leave lane and try to play a little bit more around Caps and BrokenBlade.
Maybe a Pike.
Heimerdinger. That's what I was thinking too, Targamas. I was thinking
that's
Braum,
Professor
actually.
Heimerdinger.
Professor, that's true.
Ooh, Ashe support.
Okay, all right.
So that is engage, but it's also pushing lane as well, which is what Misfits wants to avoid with the Karma ban. There's the last pick Ahri for Vetheo, so a lot of playmaking for Misfits and a lot of pushing lanes for G2. They want to get these side lanes pushed in, carry top, double range support an AD in bot lane. The Ashe ideally just wants to poke out with the volley, build CDR, throw arrows to mid on every single cooldown to try to catch Vetheo so Caps and Jankos can punish.
And with total control of the bottom side of the map, G2 Esports can obviously look to support that lane and counter gank, or just have Jankos continue playing to the top side. Obviously the part of the map that we naturally look at when we talk about G2 Esports, despite incredible performances from Flakked and Targamas over the course of this week. For Misfits, I mean, a lot of solid comfort picks for the two players in Neon and Vetheo. Have to see what they can do in this game.
100%. Zanzar been super active in the early games for Misfits, a truly selfless player for the team, eyeing up how he can play around Vetheo in the mid lane with that melee mid on the opposite side, getting control over that. You can try to potentially solve some problems that you could be facing against the BrokenBlade up in the top lane on that Yone.
Yeah. Maybe a level 1 invade bot side could go well here for Misfits if they opt into it. Jarvan's quite weak level 1 and they have the Trundle, of course, so a lot of options for Misfits, but they need to shut down this pushing lane that Jankos will try to cover.
Pressure on both sides. Big stakes for two teams that have already locked their way into playoffs. But how high can they set their sights in the regular season? The question on our minds. A lot of Vetheo fans, a lot of G2 fans. Final game of day 2. Let's go. G2 versus Misfits. You can hear it home. Some Misfits voices in the crowd looking to support a team who has made a heroic run to be neck and neck with G2 at the top of the standings, but the crowd remains, I think we can say healthily, in the favor of G2 Esports at this point in time, but for now, it looks like we will not see that aggressive level 1 or any crazy plays, although Neon and Mersa poking in their head for a little bit of vision.
It's not over just yet. Yeah, just going to go ahead and drop the word G2, trade that out towards the top side of the map. Pretty standard stuff as Misfits don't look too aggressive early on, just wanting some early coverage around mid.
Yeah, level 1 wards so important in tracking jungle. We heard Mad Lions and Yo talking about the power of level 1 wards and how they often use them. Jankos will run over it, so they'll know exactly where he's starting. Maybe they're afraid of some kind of level 2 bot when you're playing double-ranged bot lane. Very powerful, so both teams will ward for it. Will they get it? Yes, they will, so Misfits won't have a ward for this level 2.
Very nice. Jankos, you could see, was still afraid of the late invade, putting down his pillar, just or his flag, really, 5 seconds before the camps did end up spawning. And these early wards are going to be so important for Vetheo again against that Jarvan. Red buff level 2 gank, very popular around that middle lane. Jankos will be spotted out, though, and that won't be possible from either side of mid for the next minute.
Jankos going to do red Raptors, expecting him to go to Gromp afterwards. And a little bit of trading in bot. Misfits trying to contest the push. Even with no vision on Jankos. Actually, they did have vision on Jankos on the Raptors, so they knew they were just isolating that 2v2 there. Pings coming across to his Raptors. Both junglers going up this top side. Of course, Jankos sees that the red buff is up for Zanzara, so he knows that... See the pings, he can track him very well there. Pings on Jankos' Gromp, and eventually they'll see Zanzara going top side. As he's not showing on this red, Vetheo will get early mid push into the Sylas. And it might be a top side contest for a Scuttle, but both these junglers can backtrack back to bot side pretty easily.
Moving up, just trying to fight for vision. Bot lane, it's neck and neck. But the Ashe and the Sivir, they're just so much harassed, so difficult for Mersa and Neon to do a lot, at least in the early levels.
And there's the level 2 on Ashe, taking E second. You can see the power of it right there. Spots Zanzara, they know exactly where he is and what camps are up. Raptors are up, Krugs are up, so 3 bot side camps into red. They can see his CS numbers. Jankos has all the information he needs to work with. With 25 seconds left on this crab, I think he's going to look to secure it. Needs to cover BrokenBlade here, who's already warded Tribush, trying to get this wave in.
Does seem like it's going to be hard to get much of anything going as BrokenBlade tries to soften up the matchup just a little bit. Again, both teams having very good information of where the junglers are, although Jankos is trying to play around the wards for the time being. I think it's more about just making sure he's safe to push out that lane.
Yeah, just covering the top wave. You're correct on that one, and looks like Zanzara might walk into this top side river. No, he's going to go bot side. So like I talked about, backtracking, very easy for Zanzara to run bots here. The problem he has is he doesn't have bot push, so if he runs down there and Jankos matches, he's just going to have to give up this crab. So he's just going to stay out of vision. Not giving the information over to G2. Going to his Krugs here is probably the best option he has.
Ooh, and this is actually really nice from Jankos too. Sort of anticipating this, even getting the ward on the crab down there. That's what it's called. He actually just picks up his wolves on the way over. So just min-maxing a little bit, not skipping that one out to make sure he gets the double.
Caps, looking on the pillar, gonna dash away out to safety. Flash out, charm still hits!
Maybe they could have committed there a bit more. Zanzara probably thought that the second he flashed, that was it. The play's over, so he was already running away. So when the charm connected, he didn't have the distance to be able to gap close onto Caps. So he gets out with his life, and Zanzara comes away with the crab.
And again, credit to Zanzara. Continuously impressed by how much of an impact this guy's been able to make over the course of the last few weeks with Misfits, but even in the face of the Ashe Hawk shot, spotting him out early, still manages to get an early flash from Caps.
And even if he's on a ward here, still just putting so much pressure on Caps. Now, it is a cannon minion here, and Jankos is on the way, so Caps actually isn't going to lose any minions. I don't think he should be able to find this one. If it wasn't a cannon, maybe he loses 1 or 2 with the time Zanzara put in, but not in the end.
Yeah, and here we see the difference again. Zanzara's been on this roster for a few weeks now, but the difference between him and Shlatan, he's just been hovering around the top side of the river for so long, waits, gets a flash, then runs into the lane and kind of fake pressures Caps into being scared under his tower, while maybe Shlatan was just trying to look for full clears, right? So that's the trade-off of pressure, as Vetheo will see the Ashe E, we'll see the Scryers bloom, we'll know there's many people bot side, they're on a ward, he's going to try to play safe. Mersa's on the way now to cover his mid laner, as Caps just tries to get the remainder of the creeps just to base and look to TP back.
One thing I want to highlight on the top side of the map that we might miss because we're not focusing in as much on the laning phase. Irrelevant constantly forced to burn mana to keep up to trade with BrokenBlade. BrokenBlade mana list means it's so easy for him to just over time incrementally win out on this lane. Starting to see more and more why he opted for this pick here early on. And obviously it's only going to get harder now that Boots 2 are coming in. Big spike for Yasuo and Yone alike.
Yeah, and you know, sort of looking at this Ashe pick along with it, it almost is another layer of support for BrokenBlade towards the top side of the map with the scouting. Again, without full push in bot lane, you can't really clear both quadrants of that enemy side jungle. So yeah, we actually saw how Targamas used that E all the way towards the north side. So skipping out on getting themselves some personal protection in the bottom lane, knowing, hey, we're letting the wave push into us for the time being, and we're not going to push up until we're a little bit more comfortable.
There's another one.
Again.
Gonna fly through mid and might spot Zanzara here. We'll see.
That's not a hawk. What is that?
It's a. It looks like a
This little manta ray?
Manta ray, yeah. Well,
Sure. Wow.
it's pretty cool.
All right. I have not seen Ashe played in a very long time, and certainly haven't seen an Ashe skin in a very long time, so there it is.
I don't even know what skin that is.
Yep, doesn't matter. Guessing Space Crew?
Oh, Caps, nice side
Summer
step on the
Party,
chart.
hold on, 1v1, Caps. Massive trade in his favor here. Vetheo got enough mana maybe to hope to clear the wave, but Caps can just go for the all-in.
Yeah, Vetheo has TP, so maybe he has to stay here for the wave, though. Zanzara
Zanzara
is
waiting
here to cover, just catch this wave in base is probably Vtheo's plan. Jankos is around, Zanzara's around, not a lot of pressure. A little bit of fighting in bot. Zanzara's trying to run down there to stop Caps from being able to collapse onto his bot lane, trying to match this mid lane roam as Vetheo needs to recover in his own lane. Could pillar the dragon here and make it, yeah, exactly, hit Caps while he's trying to run away, get a little bit of chunk onto him. Of course, he has no TP, he's gonna have to E over the wall here. Can Misfits do this dragon, I wonder? They don't have information on Jankos, so they're just gonna back out, and that helps Vetheo out.
Yeah, good punish there from Zanzara. All Caps really wanted was the honey fruit, but it looked like with his pathing, maybe he would try a gank towards that bottom side. Zanzara read that off of the vision, and they shut that down, not only denying it, but forcing him to actually take a base. So he wanted to actually get that honey fruit, stay on the map, at least for another wave. Now he doesn't have that opportunity.
I just want to highlight for a quick second Irrelevant. I mean, it came in to replace Hirit, who was such a kind of inconsistent-ish top laner, very aggressive, died a lot, was very volatile in terms of getting kills, needing pressure. He's kind of been a rock for Misfits. He's only down 4 or 5 CS right now in a matchup which is counterpicked and it might not be so familiar with. And these last few weeks, he's been that rock that Misfits need so they can have these superstars, right? Not all 5 players have to be MVPs and superstars and flashy, because you need some players that can take it on the chin and play from behind or just kind of be resourceless in that sense. And I think Irrelevant's actually fit in pretty well as a rookie. Ever since he joined, of course, his team started out rough, but now they're sitting 10 wins, 6 losses, tied with G2.
And why the Misfits coaching staff chose to invest in him in terms of their commitment to him, and ultimately we'll just have to see where he ends up next year. But great that in the moment, when the pressure is on at the back half of the split, knowing that your spot is not waiting for you in the year to come, that you can still show up and have these big performances. That said, I think this lane matchup probably does get a little bit harder as we get later into it, but Randuin's big fat value in this game up against Flakked and BrokenBlade.
Yeah, Randuin's Frozen Heart, both really good at denying the kind of AD lanes early. Warden's Mail going towards armor stacking because they have a double AD top jungle. As Jankos ticks over to level 6, he might look for plays now as Mersa's hovering. He could find him face checking Jankos.
Mersa level 5, forced to flash out to safety.
I wonder why Jankos didn't just EQ there. I wonder if he actually didn't have it up. That might be the reason why he instantly ults, because he of course could have chased as well with the EQ.
Sure.
So must have had some cooldowns there, Jankos.
On the top side. We keep going back here, so I'm expecting something to happen. Q's through. Obviously, you can fish for the stun, but immediately he pushes E as the projectile comes out. Yes, there's a projectile.
Huge rotations, top side. It's going to be a Herald brawl here. Even the ADs in the bot side river on their way up.
Targamas only level 5. Now taking over to level 6. BrokenBlade continuing to poke onto Irrelevant. Still has his ulti up and available. Jankos no ulti is big. Flag drag into the Yone ultimate would be massive for a fight. Mersa, no level 6. Easy follow-up now as Yone starts to wreak havoc on the fight. That's first blood coming in for Caps. Irrelevant trying to find the stun off to the side, but there's no follow-up damage. Jankos taking, Jankos burning. Double kill for Caps. Caps and BrokenBlade taking over this fight. Misfits getting absolutely slaughtered on the top side of the map. They just do not stop. Double kill for the Yone. Caps with a double of his own. Only Neon left standing.
It's a double for both solo laners. So much skill expression on the Sylas and the Yone, and they land so many abilities to shut down Misfits. Yes, they get the Herald, but G2 get kills in return. BrokenBlade's ult was fantastic to set it up and shut down Mersa.
Yeah, and the fight is just so spread apart from Misfits. Obviously, Neon is entering the fight late, but without top lane priority, BrokenBlade just zoning him away throughout the start. G2 correctly identified that they can just engage onto the 3-man core of Misfits here. Again, look at this. The top lane and bot laner of Misfits just can't get into this fight.
Yeah, great CC chain there from Jankos and BrokenBlade to shut down Mersa straight away. Then Caps gets the Ahri ult and finishes off Zanzara using the knock-up from BrokenBlade, I believe, and then Irrelevant and Vetheo tried to dive onto Jankos. Targamas, good snipe there by Neon to get the kill. Targamas levels up in the fight, so he throws out his arrow, hits onto Neon, has the cleanse, uses the flash, gets over the wall and escapes. Could have gone a lot worse for Misfits if Neon died, of course, but 4 kills still stings a hell of a lot. They get the Herald, but big gold lead for G2 now.
Yep. And you can see the story of their top side dominating in that exchange. 2K gold lead now. Flakked and Targamas role players at this stage of the game will get scarier as the game continues on, but the Jarvan paired with the Sylas and a very strong Yone is a terrifying prospect.
Yeah, still waiting for some ults to come back online. 5 seconds there for Flakked. G2 did not secure the Drake, so still plenty to fight for on the map.
So two things I've noticed in this Yone Sejuani matchup. Yone can trade really aggressively, and as the arrow misses, as the E comes in from Sejuani to get the auto attack to apply a little bit of her burst, Yone can just use his own E to disengage and not get stunned, right? That looks like the trading pattern here, and it's when BrokenBlade gets Blade of the Ruined King, this matchup's gonna get a hell of a lot worse for Irrelevant. BrokenBlade will go Blade, and maybe he goes towards a tanky build perhaps afterwards, or some kind of shield bow, we'll have to see, but it's gonna be living hell for Irrelevant when that Blade gets picked up.
Blade, Sunfire Cape, obviously a build that we've seen internationally. 0 crit Yone. Of course, the Sunfire Cape base scaling was nerfed to try to take some of those builds out of the meta. They can still be seen. We have still seen them in solo queue and internationally when Flandra played this champion. Yeah. But something to keep track of.
And Irrelevant just forced or chooses to TP rather topside, not to fall even further behind, already 20 CS. BrokenBlade does have the TP, so has options. I mean, if he gets another shove like that just to go for a full base and walk back to lane, he's actually not even doing that. Maybe even going down to farm Wolves could be an idea for him, just continuing to try and snowball.
Misfits struggling right now, and the reason is they have no summoners on their bot lane, no summoners on their mid laner, and there's a Jarvan on the enemy team. So if anyone steps up, Jankos will instantly punish him. You can see he's hovering around bot there. Misfits can't really push in any waves. They have a Herald, yes, but it's on Vetheo, so G2 know that it's going mid, so as long as Jankos kind of balances bot and mid push, they can always collapse first onto Vetheo if he does place it.
And BrokenBlade obviously immediately backing off on the top side, knowing that he does not have a jungler there to back him up and support him. Zanzar and Irrelevant moving down. Catching out Caps here would be big. He already has a shutdown on his head, 150 gold extra. Putting money into the back pocket, the Vetheo is big. Here comes the Herald usage now as Misfits sending 4 members to the mid lane. Counter engage is massive.
Oh,
they can
Vetheo?
find it. Zanzara being locked up, now immediately going in onto him, but that's going to be the follow-up. Now Flakked dragging out to safety. Renata ult comes in, won't even get an auto off. Caps ready to re-engage with the stolen Sejuani ult, but the tower's still standing.
A lot invested here, though. They give up bot push, they give up top push. Irrelevant just dropped all his waves to help out there, so BrokenBlade can get the push, get an easy reset, might have that Blade spike already in base. Good investment, though. They need to find something from that Herald, and that was their only chance.
Yeah, they pay back a little bit for that pretty rough fight they took a little bit ago. And yet we still, I feel like we keep seeing Misfits trying to group up a little bit and make these moves, like with the Herald, like with that play around mid. And G2 can just sort of chill through it. Blade of the Ruined King now picked up for BrokenBlade. Even though they lose many plates on the mid turret, they're still in position to take the Drake. So G2, it feels like, are more passively winning this game as they continue to farm up on the top side of the map.
And the 1.5k individual gold lead is just going to make things so incredibly difficult. And right now we're just focusing on the top lane matchup in the context of BrokenBlade versus Irrelevant. But when BrokenBlade is unleashed into these fights, it's going to be impossible for the vast majority of the Misfits lineup to really survive. Now that said, still have some good counter-engage tools with Mersa and the hostile takeover. But definitely the game is not easy up against a very fed Yone.
Definitely hurts. Irrelevant can't contest this push at all this game. Well, this lane. For the rest of it, as long as it goes on, BrokenBlade will have a lot of side push. Vetheo will get the blue buff. Has a bit of a deficit to Caps right now in terms of gold. Both of them picked up the Everfrost, so slightly even for now. And it's just the mid-jungle of G2 that just needs to control this game now and balance both their side lanes so they can't get collapsed on and die to any kind of strange ganks. There's the ultimate that's timing
that hit! Finding it, the chain CC, the follow-up. Vetheo now locking him down under tower, trading back pretty well. Caps, I think, just fishing with the ultimate as it was about to expire.
Yeah, I did want to bring attention to this because with the last lock of Ashe for G2, it did open up opportunities for them to get like non-committal engage into a fight, because you look at that top side, like once they're in, they're kind of in, apart from the Yone, who can get out relatively easily. But with the Sylas 2 on top of the Ashe, you can steal away a couple of really good engage ults with the Sejuani, and you can grab that ult from Mersa as well. There's so many tools to find fights from long range.
And I just got one last pour one out for Relevant. If you're
pour one out.
This man's life is hell. He doesn't even bother auto-attacking the Yone because he knows the second he does, he just ease back to safety.
Yeah, and he life steals up anyway. It just sucks because the team fight went in G2's favor, so the lane is lost.
Oh, they won out. Renata and Zeri are moving up towards the top side now. Just get them out of there.
Smart play by Misfits. They're going to lose this top tower eventually. So just swap. Will it die before they arrive? I don't think so. So Irrelevant is going to hover around mid, and with Herald spawning in 5 seconds time.
Ooh, Zanz is here too.
Yeah, there could be another 5v5. Second Herald spawn now. G2 is going to start it up. Flakked's on the way. He's going to try to push mid wave with Caps in the meanwhile. And Irrelevant didn't go bot. He's ignored that wave. It's crashing on the tower, so that just spells that Misfits want to fight. G2 can see them.
And this is a bit crazy coming in from Misfits, I'll be honest. BrokenBlade level 11, very strong. Jankos now fishing with the setup. BrokenBlade very far away from the fight. Needs to get 2 stacks on the queue before he can really commit to anything. And Misfits instantly collapsing on the weaker side of G2, not wanting to fight up against BrokenBlade, trying to pick off a couple of members, trying to get this start in their favor. BrokenBlade off to the side, waiting for an opportunity. Oh, does now snap back. 3 stacks on the queue. Ready to go in if he can find an angle, but Misfits fighting pretty well here, scrapping back and forth. Haven't burned any major cooldowns.
3 ultimates used from their top side, but they got Flakked's flash and cleanse. He's had to base, so it is a 5v4 for now. Misfits have the numbers advantage. It's on Mersa with the hostile takeover to kind of hit many members of G2 so they can return because they don't have the Sejuani ult, but it looks like that skirmish has gone in Misfits' favor, and that skirmish has netted them the Herald. Will they get out though? Caps has a Sejuani ult, it's going to toss it onto Zanzara.
Locked up one, hostile takeover now coming in, coming over the wall. Jankos, Targamas are not going to hit each other. Caps finding the stun, finding the engage. The snare now coming in. Vetheo forced to flash out to safety. Does not have his ult from the previous fight, but will walk away. G2 now trying to fire back, pushing in on the mid lane.
So close right there, and yes, Misfits get the Rift Herald, but hey, G2 are getting a turret, even sending the arrow, trying to snipe out Vetheo on the way out, but that is just probably going to be an even trade, right? What is that second Herald going to get you? Very likely just that first outer turret in one of these lanes, so G2 equalizing and making the right choice, I believe, not to commit into the 5-on-5.
Yeah, they had no chance when Flakked based. Don't take the 4v5. Jankos will catch this big bot wave, get a little bit of XP for himself. And now the question is, how do Misfits use that Herald? Mid tower is quite low already. Bot tower would die to a Herald crash. Top tower is very, very healthy. Frozen Heart picked up for Relevant with the Balmy Cinder. So now 1 minute on the Dragon. We'll have to see what soul it is. Could go towards an Infernal if G2 roll well. So Misfits might have to contest this one or the next one. I think they're pretty safe giving up this Dragon spawning in 1 minute. We'll see if they cross-map though. They have a good option of just heralding top and cross-mapping away from the Dragon.
Mid tower for mid tower in the end. Reminder, we have one more day of Super Week left in front of us. Break week next week before we resume for playoffs. LEC Summer playoffs starting 26th of August, so 2 weeks. Remember, dear audience, break week is a-coming. We have to wait for euphoria. You'll have to wait for a potential best of 5 between teams like G2 and Misfits. We'll focus in now back onto the game. And obviously pressure high for both these teams. Big stakes for G2, locking worlds before playoffs even start. Before you even get into your break week would make the break a lot more enjoyable, I imagine.
Oh, Misfits are looking. Check it out, Irrelevant moving from top side down in towards mid lane. Has a pretty good flank opportunity. Also a sweeper in hand. You can see that Irrelevant knows that his sort of role is rotating out of top lane on a flank, and having sweeper to make sure he's not spotted on the engage is crucial.
Yeah, you're completely right. There's no point in him matching side lanes. He loses to the Sylas, he loses to the Yone, so just look for team plays, catch waves on tier 2s, and try to play around the team as much as possible. Dragon up in 5, Misfits in the bot side river, Herald pop bot. There's going to be no cross map whatsoever. Caps, does he TP in? If he does, then it's going to be a 5v5 again for a neutral objective. This bot tower should die to the Herald crash. Misfits playing through bots for now while Vetheo catches mid wave.
Crucially, there's actually not a wave here, which means BrokenBlade has no way to stack his Q prior to this fight. He would have to fully commit to this one if he wanted to get anything done. So it is an easy crash, despite how strong BrokenBlade is. Pillar coming out, zoning him away. He's going to take that one out. And on the top side of the map, Caps just taking a tier 2. Nice and easy. Misfits hoping maybe that they can get a little bit more on the bottom side.
A little indecisive out of Misfits. Obviously wanted that bot lane outer turret, but Vetheo goes up a little bit late. Now they move on to the Drake. Caps very low mana, very unlikely he teleports in, but he is getting a base off now.
Yeah, Vetheo's not stopping him from basing, so when he channels this recall, he can TP in. They get the Dragon. Do they get out though is the question. Jankos can fish for an engage here if Caps can find a good TP ward, but there's none in Misfits' jungle, so he'd TP quite far out of the fight, so there wouldn't be much follow-up. They're just going to back away here. Irrelevant hasn't caught a wave in quite a while now. Ignored top, gave all the bot waves to Neon. He's just hovering around to keep numbers advantage in Misfits' favor, so they can contest his objectives. So although they lost that top tier 2, they got a bot tier 1 on a Dragon.
Yeah, Relevant is just playing second jungler now for the team effectively, seeing what he can find around Neon's lane, and that's ideally how Misfits want to move in the next few minutes, is put as much as you can into Vetheo, and Neon cannibalize some of those jungle camps as well.
BrokenBlade now stepping forward. He's just going to ult out to safety. Good use of the ultimate.
Yeah, really good buffer. The second he saw the Sejuani ult, unstoppable, ult the hell out of there. He's absolutely fine. Vetheo will catch top wave. Vetheo had a really good TP ward there as well in the bot lane brush. Neon wants to catch this next wave. Targamas just trying to scout as much vision as possible for his team. Make sure BrokenBlade's safe catching this wave. Neon's scared of someone in the bush. Ideally here, Misfits' next objective would be the top tier 1. It's the only real thing that they can play for, but G2 want this bot tier 1. That's why we're seeing a 5v5 on the bot side of the map. Misfits are defending this and holding this as long as possible.
BrokenBlade very fast. The Soul Unbound will not connect on the third Q. Big there. Could have been a death.
5 seconds until Targamas gets that arrow. Wasn't online, so weren't a lot of opportunities. And now we wait for something to happen, quite frankly. Look, Flakked, Caps low mana. They're going to have to go back to base. They're not looking to fight anytime soon. It is just Farm Simulator. And again, as
here we go.
Irrelevant just can't catch a break, man.
But the arrow was irrelevant, so it's like it had his name on it.
Good one. You know, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Condescending pat on the back. You can't see it at home. I'll take it. Anyway, as you said, not a lot going on. 3K gold lead for G2. And while they are in control, definitely the later and later we get, Neon's going to feel pretty okay against a lot of the members against this comp. It's very hard to play against the Ashe in a lot of these team fights, but as long as no hard CC hits him, he could be okay. Jankos going to throw a thorn in that plan, however, is Zanzara pushing it on the top side, getting a little bit of control. BrokenBlade breaking down that bot lane tier 1. Misfits looking for a response on the top side.
TP top by Caps to defend that. Response from Misfits of looking for that top tier 1. Misfits were defending that bot tower for so long, but eventually it was just way too low. And they couldn't afford the resources investing down there to keep it alive longer because Baron's up, so they need to shift their pressure top side. But I don't think they can cross map, of course. They're a bit weaker right now. Vetheo down a level. G2 have mid push. They have a jungler already up here. Gonna get a bit of top side vision, so nothing to look for Misfits. Jankos are trying to push them back.
Yeah, Misfits also just a little bit slow on each play, it seems like. You know, yes, trying to cross map, but not in time for the TP to come inside. You know, they only had one player towards the top lane pushing that one down. The rest were worried about pushing through mid, making sure they could set up, but weren't in a position to threaten dive up top. So Misfits don't really find opportunities. They lose control over the mid wave, and again, I feel like it's just about getting as much onto Vetheo and Neon as you can here.
But it's so hard up against BrokenBlade. 2 items now. Double lifesteal coming in. BrokenBlade might just ult over the wall here.
Yeah.
Ult
Here goes.
committing, going, just gonna keep this fight going. It's gonna be so easy following up now. Arrow goes a little bit wide, but he's gonna start to shred through that health bar. All the CC burn from Irrelevant, though, stops BrokenBlade from getting a whole lot more done. He has no ultimate, which means he has no way out if they can stick on top of him. Neon waiting off to the side, but has to be careful. Just skirmishing, just dancing around these cooldowns on the bottom side.
And the thing is, too, while Misfits are reacting to this play, Caps was topside stealing away his own junglers. Gromp, he's now going to push out the wave. Like, G2 and Caps in particular is always very close-minded on min-maxing all that you can get. When his jungler's playing bot side, you better believe his topside camps are going in an instant.
Misfits just juggling both side lanes here. G2 looking for a play top and bot, and they just have to keep running up and down this river to try to contest and stop any play from happening. Cap should be fine here. There's no real threat on him. 4K gold lead for now for G2. Dragon up in 1 minute. They want to start the dragon stacking.
Arrow.
That's a
big! The follow-up immediately going to hit with the ult, finishing him off 100-0, baby! Targamas from downtown. Caps closes out the kill.
What a sniper. Targamas all the way from downtown, all the way from his base, lands it onto Mersa. Caps gets the kill. Incredible follow-up, of course, with the Sejuani ult. And down goes the support of Misfits. Can they force a Baron? I think the answer is no. Jankos doesn't have any armor right now.
Yeah, just clearing away vision, putting some pressure now on Misfits. I think the real prize 30 seconds away from that Infernal Drake. BrokenBlade in a position just try and clear away some wards. The other thing too is like BrokenBlade with all that lifesteal, like he just shreds through camps, you know, he's gonna stall out so much time on a side lane. So constantly a nuisance. Caps too on a side as well. Like G2, when no objectives up, just playing that 1-3-1 is so effective.
Slow and steady wins the race, no mistakes from G2, just keeping pressure on sides, juggling them both, forcing Misfits into a mistake or into a team fight.
Ooh. And they spot the Irrelevant TP as well. Just pulling back. They can try to fish for an engage here. Jankos flag and drag out to safety. BrokenBlade waiting, charged up. Both teams posturing for the Drake, but Caps is on the flank. No healing reduction on the side of Misfits, crucially outside of the Ignite onto Mersa. Arrow going in, will hit Neon, immediately gonna cleanse. Pulling back, 6K, getting lower and lower. Caps on the backside, BrokenBlade now stepping forward, ready to get things going. Third Q, ready to go. Goes back, doesn't use it. Now they're going to turn right onto Jankos, trying to fish it off. Vetheo over the wall instantly. Zoning away, trying to take the jungler down. His Caps on the flag. It's a multi-man ultimate. BrokenBlade, Flakked, what's the follow-up? What have they got? Only going to hit Vetheo. Now being pulled back at the last possible second to avoid the hostile takeover. Caps off to the side. Now focusing on the ultimate coming out from the Trundle. Stolen away by Caps, keeping him alive, keeping him healthy. Now stepping forward. Caps on a rampage. Caps versus the world. A double kill for the man in the mid lane for G2.
Caps tears Misfits apart. Incredible Q predict there on Neon's dash. Him trying to escape. Caps slammed on
another arrow.
Connects. That's going to be a triple kill for Caps.
Burning Caps.
6-0-2 on the Sylas, gets the blue buff, level 15, 25 minutes into the game. They're going to get the Infernal Dragon as well. Vetheo got away on 1 HP, and it looked quite dire the second that Jankos was in trouble, but Caps' flank paid off.
Yeah, Caps waits so long. Just look, he has ult this entire time, but wait and watch for when he uses that, because he doesn't know exactly which ult he wants to grab. He has to decide, am I going for CC? Am I going to stall out time? And when Jankos gets hit on the other side and they look for the re-engage, that's when he decides to make it happen.
So this is where Jankos decides that he has to turn. There's no way out here. Just do as much damage as possible. Ult, Gore Drinker, Q, everything he's got. Vetheo gets engaged on by BrokenBlade, just gets out with a Sliver Sivir HP, but it's Caps. Takes the Trundle,
There it
uses
is.
it on the Trundle, lives for so long, gets his whole combo off, lives again with the W, pops the stopwatch, then comes out of it. Watch this Q from Caps. Predicts Neon's dash here, hits him with the Q2, manages to get the finishing blow, then cleans up onto Irrelevant. Targamas' ult comes off cooldown, shoots it onto Zanzara, which nets Caps a triple kill.
Incredible, but Arrow to finish this one
And the
out.
arrow's just back again.
Yeah, we're waiting for it. There it is. It's power support Ashe. A lot of arrows.
Can we actually check? I want to know what the hit rate is this game, because it has just been absolutely insane for Targamas.
Yeah, they love it when you ask for stats like that. That's, well, we'll get back to you.
I gotta know.
Dear audience, because I want to know too. But right now, Caps, reading enthusiast. 10 stacks on the Medjais coming in. Very terrifying man to deal with at this point in time, and still no healing reduction on the enemy team. We are looking at a Sylas, and the problem is they're behind. It's gonna be hard. Here comes the arrow. Big. The rest of the follow-up. Where's the rest of the team? BrokenBlade comes over the wall. Flakked, Caps off to the side. They're getting slaughtered in their own jungle, in their own territory. Lulled into a false sense of security. Flakked says, hey, it's my turn. Double kill for the Sivir.
And now G2, they're just going to be able to turn over towards the Baron. No smite. Zanzara is down for another 30 seconds. I mean, how do you even find a team fight if you are Misfits? Caps has the Sedge ult. He could turn at a moment's notice. G2 are just running away with this game.
Yes, it looks like Misfits are going to get a mid-tier 2. Push in bot. But Caps and BrokenBlade right now are unstoppable. The arrow hit onto Mersa again. He can't really impact these fights as much as you talked about. Drakos in draft, the hostile takeover doing work.
Falling apart.
He's just dying constantly before he can get it off onto the melee engager. So that's a top in him that G2 have gotten. Are they pushing for more here? Zanzara
They use an arrow to stall out the reset. Look at that!
Flashbacks to
Look at
Rock's
the arrow.
SKT. But they're not in the game this time. Zanzara is going to chase G2 down here.
This is not a good idea.
Turning.
This is not a good idea. BrokenBlade will 3v1. They need the Ignite from Mersa to stop the healing, which they do have, but there's just no avenue there.
Dominant.
8K gold lead, 21 minutes in. We'll take a look back at this, but this is the slaughter.
I mean, they're in their own jungle trying to clear a ward. Then Jankos ults them, EQ's out, arrow connects, BrokenBlade follow up from a mile away with the E and the ult. Caps is on the side after pushing out top. There's really nowhere they can go. Caps takes down Zanzara, 2 kills for them. That's an easy Baron. Misfits have no hope in contesting that in a 3v5.
I mean, just the insanity of that engage. Like, all you see is Jankos. No one else is even really that close. He goes in, stalls out enough with the Ashe arrow, and then 5 players are on you. What are you going to do?
Neon caught out, taken down, can't get over the wall. Arrow, not going to connect. Neon died too fast.
That's 40 seconds on Misfits' main primary damage dealer in Neon. They're going to get this bot tier 2. They're going to buff up these mid waves to slow Misfits down. They might push for this bot in here, but I think Misfits going to have to give it up, or at least try to fight and force G2 to dive them. But BrokenBlade still has ult. Cap still has ult. Can take away whatever the hell he wants, and he still has a stopwatch too, so that's going to be an inhib going down. Vetheo's here to respond, but he just doesn't have the damage. He's more of a setup champ for Neon. And that's 2 inhibs gone. BrokenBlade will get a mid-tier 2. It's clean so far from G2.
And again, they need such an overwhelming amount of resources to kill BrokenBlade or Caps individually at this point. There's just really not an avenue for Misfits to play this game out any further. These are 2 of the worst champions to have a lead this size.
Oh, Zeri damage hurts. There's another arrow.
Landing onto Vetheo, follow up immediately. Responding now, Caps unkilled. Jankos leaping into the middle of the team. There goes BrokenBlade flashing in, taking down another. Zanzara back into the waiting arms of BrokenBlade. Here comes Caps again. It's a massacre. It is merciless. G2, they got worlds in their sight, and you can tell. And this is the only time in your life, EU fans, you can be excited about Caps going to NA. But there it is, G2 locking worlds with a game left to play in the regular season.
And they make it look easy. Spring Split, the opposite of easy. Every step of the way doubted, claw it back series after series. Here, they make it happen in the BO1s thanks to the effort they put in spring and the grind at the end of summer.
Dominant game, first team in the world to lock that world championship. Not much more to say, really. Yeah, I mean, it was just from start to finish fantastic. Really good juggling over sides, really good side lane pressure, punishing Misfits even when they stepped into their own jungle, and Caps just doing Cap stings around dragon fights. Are we going to get a Su for the Worlds?
For Worlds?
No, just a bow.
Just a bow? They're staying tempered. Just a wave.
It's the ultra mental.
Do they even know?
I don't know. I think the staff knew. Okay, the staff popped off for a best of one. The staff knew, for sure.
Good.
Exciting times. I mean, the reality is that playoffs still stands in front of them, still stands in front of Misfits. Time, a break week, another day tomorrow, another game tomorrow to figure out exactly how you want to approach things.
And 3 or 4 weeks ago, there was a debate as to whether G2 would even make playoffs. But now they're sitting, I think, tied for first place, and they're locked for Worlds. So, yes, we may doubt them halfway through the splits, but they always manage to find a way back to kind of pick it back up. They're on a 4-game win streak now.
Yeah, I mean, even in a weaker BO1 split, the BO5s are going to be an absolute demon. And for all these teams that are working towards playoffs to get there, break week isn't exactly a break week. It's a grind week for them trying to make it all the way through the finish line. G2 so good in those times, and now they get to rest a little bit easier.
Also, break week could be a good time for a G2 vacation.
Why would you make that joke?
The only vacation G2 want to go on is to Malmo, okay?
That's
true.
A traumatic
Get some
experience.
tickets.
2017 was a dark time for you fans internationally. Let's hope 2022 is not the same. Don't have a good transition there, so I'm just going to say Kia player of the game at LEC on Twitter, BrokenBlade, Caps, Targamas. You know.
Counterpoint. Odoamne.
Wow.
No, it's Caps. Let's be real.
I can't believe you got a cheer for that.
Of course I'm going to get Everyone loves Odoamne.
Everyone does love Odoamne.
Yeah.
He's like an EU Eeyore. He's just so salty all the time.
EU Eeyore.
It's wonderful. Anyway, it says ad-lib toss to break, so I will. It's time to go to break. PGL with Shocks, Roma, and Flakked. Coming up after this is going to be a banger. Don't go anywhere.